Hi everyone, welcome back to PrettyWell. Dr. Angela here with you. We missed you guys. It's been a couple weeks since we've uploaded. Dr. Patty and I have both had lots going on and so didn't have the opportunity to record content for you guys, but here we are again this week, my turn this time. We are going to focus on fiber in this video and why we should take fiber, what fibers are helpful for, the different kinds of fiber, so the different considerations and maybe where we should be mindful where maybe it could cause problems. Before we dive into the fiber discussion though, I do just want to mention that right now I know many of us are very concerned with what's going on globally with the spread of coronavirus. And just to let you know that we do have videos up. There's 4 videos up of the catalog on the channel that do cover how to boost your immune system, specific antiviral supplements you could use proactively, things you could also use if you got sick with either flu or coronavirus. So I'm going to link those in the description box. I'll add the links for you to find easily. But remember, you can also use the search bar at the upper right of the page and put any keyword in, and you'll get videos that are related to that specific topic if you don't want to scroll through over 100 videos to find what you're looking for. And next week, Dr. Patty and I will be uploading a video specific to coronavirus information to help you protect yourself, to help your immune system stay healthy, and to help you have better odds of getting well if you were to get infected. So everybody, we want you to stay healthy and calm and well out there. So just know that that is coming down the pike. All right, now back to fiber. So fiber helps the body with many functions. Really, we're eating fiber, whether it's in foods or we're supplementing, so it's going through the digestive tract. So it's going to help with a lot of the functions in the body that are associated with digestion. So absolutely, people who have trouble regulating their bowels, if you are on the side of loose stool or have very sluggish bowels or tend to be constipated, fiber can be really useful for both. It's very modulating. Fiber pulls water into the colon and helps bulk stuff up. So your stool is going to be generally larger, fluffier, bulkier as it's coming out. And we actually want that. I know this is a lot of detail talking about poop, but it's actually really important that we have really healthy stool. We want to really think about the types of bacteria we have in our intestines, which we will be talking about that some more in other videos as well. And certain fibers, there's 2 main categories of fiber, soluble and insoluble. Soluble fibers act more like prebiotics, so they can feed the beneficial bacteria in our intestine. That's one nice function of the soluble fibers. Soluble fiber tends to be a lot of the ones that we associate with typically throwing into a smoothie, things like ground up flax seeds and chia seeds. Many of us are familiar with psyllium husk that we might have used during different cleanses. Many of the over-the-counter commercial preparations that have some other binders and fillers that we may not want in there, other additives like, dyes and things like that sometimes we're not as hip on, but they tend to fall into the soluble fiber category because one of the big health benefits of soluble fiber is that it helps to lower total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, and it also really helps to regulate blood sugar. When we eat food with fiber, if there is carbohydrate in the food that we're eating, the fiber helps slowly release the sugar into the bloodstream because it's coming through the digestion and only some of it's getting into the bloodstream versus like a huge carb dump. So for many of us who might struggle with blood sugar regulation, who might be pre-diabetic or diabetic, fiber can be a really beneficial part of the entire treatment of regulating blood sugar. So overall, really, really helpful for cardiovascular diseases to use different kinds of soluble fibers. Many of the fruits and veggies are really high in soluble fiber as well. And I'm going to list them in the description box as usual, so you can kind of go to the list of like what would be soluble, what would be insoluble fiber examples. the one thing we need to think about with soluble fiber, it can happen with both soluble and insoluble fiber, but soluble fiber in particular, if we tend to have problems like SIBO going on or just excessive microbial dysbiosis in the intestine, you can actually experience more gas when you eat soluble fiber because it does ferment. And so anytime you're making changes to your routine, definitely better to start slow with something to make sure you tolerate it really well and you don't have any negative side effects. Most of us will tolerate fiber really well and it will really help our bowel function. But there are some people who will be aggravated, will have an increase in gas production, so either burping or passing wind, or might have dysregulated bowel function, might get more constipated if there is an underlying issue, which in a way, this is good because if you experience an aggravation, you know that something's going on that needs more workup. You can go to your gastrointestinal doctor, gastroenterologist, you can see your naturopathic doctor, you can see your integrative holistic doctor who is going to, these docs are going to think about testing you for things like SIBO and test you for any kind of microbial overgrowth that might be leading to symptoms if you're taking fiber. Because again, most of us are gonna really benefit from adding in both soluble and insoluble fibers. So also in terms of the supplements, acacia fiber would be in the soluble category. And then on the food end, many people are familiar with things like oats. Peas and legumes are very high in soluble fiber. Now, also, many of us are on very specific diets already that don't allow for legumes or grains or certain kind of fruits because maybe there's blood sugar dysregulation. And so the good news is if it doesn't make sense for us to calorically eat certain foods that would be high in soluble fiber, if we're trying to avoid high carbs because we're trying to lose weight, we can supplement with fibers that are, you know, in the vitamin aisle of Whole Foods or whatever your health food store is, or in the dispensary of your doctor's office, which are not going to have a caloric impact but are still going to help you establish the health goals that you're trying to work on. So that's soluble fiber. Insoluble fiber, also particularly helpful for detoxification, acts like an intestinal broom. So this one is a very good fiber. It's a good category of fiber for people who struggle with sluggish bowels. So tending on the dry stool, hard stool, constipation side, insoluble fiber is going to be very helpful. In terms of the supplements, cellulose fiber falls into this category. Old school, if you guys remember wheat bran muffins, that falls into the insoluble fiber category as well. More of the cereal grains fall into the insoluble fiber, although oats, like we said, is soluble fiber. So, and this is a really helpful one also for weight loss because many people tend to feel really full when they have insoluble fibers. Truth be told, I think many of us feel pretty full when we have either soluble or insoluble fibers. So I think they can both be helpful for achieving that goal. So this is a little bit about you know, when we would use fibers, what kind of fibers. 20 to 40 grams is about the range that most of us need as adults for fiber. You know, definitely steaming things like cauliflower, broccoli. The cauliflower falls into the insoluble fiber category. But all of these things, if they're good for us, should help us feel only good. If you're not feeling good, that's information that something needs to be worked up on a deeper level. So if you have additional questions, if there's something that I didn't cover in this video relating to fiber, please drop your questions down below in the comment area. Those of you who know the answer, if I don't get to them or Dr. Patty doesn't get to them before, please help answer the questions of the rest of the community. We love when you guys chime in. It's super helpful. We do our best to answer questions, but you know, there's only 2 of us and there's 60,000-ish of our community, which is so amazing. But obviously, you know, we have our regular day jobs, and so sometimes it takes us a minute to come around to answering all the questions. We certainly do our best, but please help and chime in. Additional content requests, we love when you ask, so keep those coming. We keep an active list and decide, you know, which things have been asked for over and over again and try to address those. And yeah, just, you know, what the particular month is, you know, what we might need to cover for that. But we definitely listen to your feedback and your input. So thank you for being here with us and for asking your questions and for suggesting content. We'll be back here next week with you guys with another video. Stay really healthy and well. In the meantime, take wonderful care. See you soon. Thank you.